morning! Hope you're doing really well. What I'm going to be talking about today is gravel wheel choices, specifically wheel size and whether you should choose 650B or 700Cs for your gravel bike if you could only choose one. So I've been asked this question quite a lot recently because I have been riding both of these bikes and trying out various different suspension things and different setups. You'll notice this one has got a loud fork on. That's obviously going to change the handling of this bike, but we're just going to ignore that for now and I'm going to focus on the main differences between the wheel sizes. So I have made some notes so that I don't just randomly waffle and go off on tangents. I figured that I would break down the main differences into a few categories and discuss those one by one. First of all, just to give a brief and fairly obvious explanation of the main difference, well, 650Bs are a smaller wheel with a smaller diameter and 700s obviously are your standard road size. So with a 650B, you've got a lot more clearance, you can have a much bigger volume tyre, which is what a lot of people tend to do, and the 700s, you can put a big tyre in if your frame could fit it, but you might potentially have a smaller tyre on that bike. So I'm going to go ahead, check my notes, and fire straight into the different segments that I've figured out and what the main differences are. So, beginning with speed. I've had lots of questions on Twitter and on my Instagram account about which is faster, and I would say that overall, massively generalising, the 700C wins every time. It's faster on the road because the larger diameter gets more momentum, and off-road it's potentially faster because the big wheel rolls over obstacles more easily and more quickly. So if you're looking for speed, I would say, massive generalisation, but that's what this whole video is about, you'd go for the 700s. The 650B, well, because you've got higher volume, you can run this tyre at lower pressure. That's going to absorb more bumps. So on a particular kind of terrain, the fact that this tyre can absorb more bumps is going to make it a better choice, and it is going to make it faster. 650s do have an advantage when it comes to building up speed. You can accelerate more quickly on a smaller wheel size. So you can't give a definitive idea of which one is faster, the 700 or the 650B, but on balance of it, I would say it's the 700. The second thing we're going to talk about is handling. Now, there is quite a big difference between the handling of a 650B and a 700C. The 650s are a more responsive ride, so if you're into doing technical stuff and you like your bike to feel fast and responsive, then the 650s are going to come out on top for that reason. The 700s, well, if you have big tyres on, and most people doing gravel will have bigger tyres on, you're actually going to make your bike have more trail. Therefore, the bike is going to be a bit slower to handle, but it's actually going to feel more stable. So it depends what you want. Do you want stability? Do you want, well, I mean, you could call it twitchiness or you could call it responsiveness. For me, it depends again on the kind of terrain that I'm riding. The third thing that I wanted to cover is weight. If you look at the size of a 650B, well, it's smaller than a 700. You've got shorter spokes, so that's going to weigh less. If you've got the same hub, well, it's the same. And then the rim obviously uses less material because it's smaller. So on balance, you'd have thought that the 650B is lighter. But in actual fact, because you tend to run bigger tyres with more volume, it usually ends up heavier because the tyres, they weigh a lot, particularly chunky tyres with tread. So in the end, I would say the 650Bs weigh more. The next thing I want to talk about is comfort. At the end of the day, we're back again to what kind of terrain you're riding and what sort of terrain you like riding, what you're best suited to. If you want comfort and you're going to have lots of road sections, maybe the 700s are better. You know, they roll faster, potentially you're going to fatigue less because of that. But if there's loads of techie off-road bits and your upper body and core are really feeling it, then you might want the 650s because it smooths all that out a little bit and you'll be more comfortable for that reason. Finally, I wanted to talk about geometry. So there's a fairly big difference between running 650s and 700s on the same bike. Obviously my two bikes here are identical, so it's really apparent to me. Some bikes are designed to run 650, so their geometry is based all around that. So that's something else entirely. I'm talking about running the same frame with different wheels. The 700s, like I said earlier, if you've got a big tyre on, you might have more trail. That could mean that the bike is more stable. With the 650s, you might find that you get more pedal strike because it actually lowers the bottom bracket putting on a 650 wheel. People might argue, and I'm sure there would be some comments were I not to raise this issue. Some people might say that a 700 wheel with a 28C tyre on it is the same circumference as a 650 with a 45C tyre on it. And yeah, you'd be right. However, in my opinion, most people don't ride a 28C tyre on their gravel bike. They're going to be riding at least a 40, so you can't say that a 650B and a 700C tyre wheel ends up being the same circumference. They don't. You're always going to run a bigger tyre on the 700, so it makes the wheel bigger. For that reason, you're going to get more pedal strike on the 650 because having these smaller wheels lowers the bottom bracket height. For me, that's an issue, and that's one of the main reasons I would want to choose a 700. So finally, to answer the question that everyone has been asking me, what wheel size would you choose if you were going to go out and buy a new gravel bike or buy a new set of wheels? I would choose the 700s. Because they roll faster on the road, there is less pedal strike, and they roll over things really, really well, and they're more versatile. I mean, the 650s, yeah, they are good for techie stuff, but the stuff around here that I ride, well, yes, actually, it is quite techie, but I don't find that the 700s really struggle with it. The 650s, yeah, they're comfortable, they are responsive, but I haven't found the 700s to not be responsive enough. So on balance of it, with the speed of the 700s and the handling still remaining pretty good, I'd go for these every time. I hope that you found this video interesting and that I managed to get most of my points across. I made notes so that I don't forget everything. Normally I just go firing into the video and then it all comes out like a big jumble and it's a nightmare to edit. Hopefully this one made sense to you. If there's anything you'd like to add, if you think I've missed something, then do let me know. I'd like to know which wheels you're thinking of getting and why, so leave me any comments below. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye! I can't reach to do the camera off thing.